Supply chain issues have consistently been in the news. We are seeing lead times for some products more than a year out. And quite frankly, some of these items will be end of life before they are ever shipped. Businesses are desperately struggling to just manage to the situation, much less provide a great customer experience. Today, we're talking to a company that is helping to solve this problem. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is Chris Brandt here with Sandesh Patel. Welcome to another FUTRtech video podcast. With the rapidly changing landscape of product sales, there's a lot of talk about experiential retail. But right now, companies are spending so much time struggling to get control of their supply chain and logistics that the customer gets lost in the chaos. ParcelLab is a commerce platform that lets you centralize your operations to bring customers closer to your brand and turn every interaction into a chance to develop a dedicated, loyal customer. They have raised $112 million to date and have operations all over the world and have amassed an impressive list of brands like Bose, Weber, and Puma as customers. Today, we are talking with Julian Krenge, founder and CTO, about how it all works and what improving your operations can do for your business. Welcome, Julian.
Thanks for the introduction. Great to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on. I think this is a very, very timely discussion we're going to have. And I think Sandesh is going to have a lot to say on this one because he's so extremely frustrated with some of the supply chain issues that we've had.
Brother. I am living it.
And just the challenges with that. But before we get into all that, tell me a little bit about what brought you to start up ParcelLab? What was the idea behind it, and what did you see in the market that was missing?
Originally, my two co-founders, Tobias and Anton, we were driven by a simple realization. When you're in B2B, when you're a business and ordering loads of goods, you have actually quite good visibility on when products are arriving. You get communication, they tell you when they're going to deliver the items. But especially 7 years ago when we started with ParcelLab, this was not the case for consumers, the average Joe. You're basically ordered online and then waited for an indefinite amount of time until someday somebody popped up at your door and said, "Hey, here's your order," right? And that was kind of it. You were at the mercy of the delivery services of the world, the DHL, the UPS, the FedEx. And as we all know, and every time we talk about this topic, everybody, as Sandesh, has their horror stories, right? Sometimes that works really well, and sometimes it does not really work as well. And we really wanted to see how can we help retailers to improve this part of their journey, as it is so important for customer loyalty, customer satisfaction.
What we've been seeing is just enormous logistical challenges with so many companies. Yeah. And I think, it's a mixture of a lot of things, right? It's sort of like just problems within the supply chain. It's, shipping issues. It's, trains being robbed in, Los Angeles, I mean, and it's just like there's all these things. And one of the things that I see, and Sandesh, you tell me what you're seeing, but just like companies are not on top of when things are going to ship. We get these ship dates, nothing, ships at that time. Sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late. Sandesh, talk about some of the things you've been seeing.
It's really from the beginning to the end, right?
Yeah.
Prior to especially COVID, I think things were relatively smooth, but what we were still missing, we have been missing, customer places an order. Where is it going to ship to? When is it going to ship? Is it going to be expedited? Is there a date? Sometimes the stuff ships and we don't get an alert, because we're waiting for the OEM to tell us that they're going to ship the product. By the time it's already shipped, it's shipped and we don't even know about it until it just arrives at the data center. Right. And so then the customer's like, "Hey, I can't take this product because I have to open up a ticket with my data center to actually receive this equipment." So then it goes back into that whole chain. And even then, when we're going between carriers, we see a lot of issues there too, right? There's one carrier taking it to one point, but then at another point, another carrier comes in. And so we've lost products right? Like there's been products that we just can't find, especially during COVID. So that's just even another problem. Not even getting the right information to the people at the data centers to receive the goods, right? Because like, is it a pallet? Is it a this? Like, and what is it coming in? What equipment do I have to have ready? So, I mean, these are just some of the things, right? And just imagine now international shipping and things of that nature. It's just super hard with Brexit and everything in EMEA. That's a challenge as well. So to me, it's along that entire supply chain.
Absolutely. Same thing. And I maybe want to add even one level on top, which is customer expectations.
Yes.
Right. Customer expectations are going through the roof. Customers don't really care about whether there is a global pandemic impacting the supply chain. They ordered something online. Expectations have been rising year over year already, but now they're getting more extreme because suddenly, all right, how do I get to people with all these constraints that we are experiencing in the real world right now? Right? How do I even deliver to begin with under increased expectations? So it's absolutely crazy, and you see retailers, wholesalers, everybody struggling to orchestrate this whole fulfillment supply chain in order to satisfy customers. Right? It's really about spinning up new warehouses, offering new delivery services, curbside pickup, making use of your brick and mortar stores. How do you orchestrate all of this while still being clear to the customer about what's happening? As Sandesh just said, what equipment do I need? What kind of delivery do I expect? Is it one box, or is it a lot of very heavy boxes, or is it a pallet, or what exactly is coming? And one topic we're seeing across B2B, B2C, every delivery right now is the issue of split orders. You have orders placed. The order size on average is growing because everything is shifting to e-commerce, and retailers cannot fulfill from a single warehouse. So what's happening, right? You have deliveries coming in with different carriers on different days, delivering different parts of your order. I mean, this is the perfect storm, right? You're basically guaranteed to have customers reaching out and saying, hey, I'm missing items. And then customer service has to pull up the number somewhere from the ERP and TMS and say, oh, don't worry about it. We shipped it yesterday. And then the customer asks, so I can expect it tomorrow? And the customer service says, probably. I mean, it's crazy what's happening. Just everything is really going more extreme.
Yeah.
So Julian, on that point, from what you're seeing, why are these manufacturers splitting up the orders, right? So let's just say, for example, a computer or just a server, a simple server or a networking device. The OEM wants to send it as soon as that they have those parts available. To me, I would rather have it all assembled and have less variables and not have multiple shipments. Just put it together for me, and when it's ready, ship it. So I get these answers from a lot of these manufacturers, and they never make sense to me, because one day it's, oh, that's just the way we do it. It's like, it's as soon as we got the parts, we want them out. The other times, oh no, we always do full integration before we ship it. It's like, well, this is not consistent. And then it makes us look bad because of what you said, which is the customer works with people like us for a simple experience, right?
Exactly.
Like it's that whole Amazon expectations, right? That's why we all love Amazon. I mean, it's all tracked and it's all logistically right there, one click buy. But do you have an idea of like, why are the OEMs wanting to ship split orders?
Quite frankly, I think the reason is simple as it is. Well, not depressing, but a bit frustrating. They don't really have a choice. Just given the supply chain and how they can, or the flexibility they have in stocking their warehouses, it's for every permutation of possible order, it's really hard to guarantee that this is being shipped from one warehouse. OEMs, I mean, if you're talking servers, this is a high complex, costly product, hard to keep on stock. And you see this down to the cheapest fashion articles, which you're like, those surely must be easy to store in one warehouse. And even there, it's not working anymore, right? So I think they would if they could. But given the shift to e-commerce, the volume they're seeing still, I mean, we're still way above pre-pandemic levels. They don't have a choice. If they want to ship it in a realistic time, they're going to have to ship it sometimes in multiple deliveries.
And do you think it's also because just the amount of labor that it takes them to then integrate it and put not just integrate it, but to track everything themselves. So when it does come together, then integrate it themselves, the cost for them goes up too, right? Because now
Absolutely.
They have to manage something which they weren't expecting, which they don't want to manage anymore. Now they just, as soon as they got it, they want to ship it.
Even having customized delivery and fulfillment options in their processes and in their systems, right? So saying, okay, this one customer would like to have a consolidated delivery preferred over individual smaller deliveries as soon as we have it. Already that is hugely costly because now you need to orchestrate your processes differently, and warehouses typically are optimized for like throughput. So every deviation from the standard process is always hard to manage.
See, that explanation makes more sense to me than the OEMs. Just you know.
Well, you finally got your answer, Sandesh.
Yeah,
it took all this time.
I did.
We've identified the problem here, and you guys have a way to address this. And I think it's wrapping it up. Beyond just solving some of the logistical and organizational challenges, but I think what we're talking about is really, solving for that, because that's sort of like table stakes to just get the order communicated and delivered. But then there's the whole other aspect of just enhancing that and improving that experience, and sort of that experiential retail that we keep hearing about, which is, how people are having a richer experience engaging with a brand and things like that. Yes. And I know that, you're focused on that, the breadth of that. I mean, can you talk about, like the kinds of things that have to go into all of this to really make that customer experience exceptional?
Experiential retail per se is coming a bit more from the offline sector, right? Mm-hmm. Where you had brick and mortar stores and tried to create an experience so people come. Interestingly, for a long time, people were not really considering this for their online experiences, despite having more tools to do that to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? It's actually so obvious when you think about it. Why don't retailers leverage that part of the journey?
Yeah.
And where we really try to bring all the different data sources together to create a richer experience is really around the brand of the retailer and the products that are being ordered. Let me give you a very, very straightforward example. Let's say you order online some kind of hi-fi studio equipment, so you have the best sound for your next podcast. So while this is being shipped, you could already be preparing, okay, let's first do an audio measurement of my room. And loads of retailers, especially in this audio space, have cool apps that they use where you can measure how the room echoes and optimize all of that. Why don't let the customer do that even before they got their order? Right? Install the proper app, install the proper drivers on your Mac or PC, set up your room in a way, and explain how the product is going to work. Get people hooked into your community. Right? That's a lot of what these enthusiast brands do as well. Let's bring people into our community for fashion. That might be one of the social networks. But overall, this whole part of the journey where you already paid for it, but don't have your product yet. I mean, that's the hook. Yeah. Now you're maximum engaged. You will be never so open to any kind of communication from the retailer until you've got your product, right? I mean, that's the most important part of the journey. And this goes to, as I said, hooking people into your ecosystem and providing there's more data. But at the same time, you also need to have more visibility of what is actually happening. Because it's such an important part of the journey, you don't want to run into these problems we discussed before, where it's unclear when and how it's being shipped. And the key to that is unifying and gathering all the data from all relevant systems. That is obviously the carriers, the UPS, the FedEx of the world, to just understand what's happening with the order. But that also includes your warehouse, for example. How did I pick it? How many boxes are those? Is there one super heavy box? So if a customer has to collect it somewhere, it's really hard to carry for them. So all these kind of aspects really feed into one consistent journey. And then to top things off, you know a lot of things about your customer, which marketing automation tools in e-commerce make use of very well, but anything that's related to the order doesn't at all. So for a lot of customers, a retailer will know what's their communication preferences, right? Do I want to email Sandesh, or does he prefer app push notifications or a text message or WhatsApp or whatever channel, right? And this is super critical to reach customers where they are so that you can actually bring your message through. That also really helps with the journey and just avoid confusion on recipient side.
You talk about like the ability to kind of customize that journey and to integrate all these different pieces. How does that all work? I mean, obviously every business is kind of different, right? And
absolutely,
the customer's needs might be very different. How do you make that all kind of fit together?
Of the roughly 500 plus brands we work with so far across Asia, Europe, and North America, I think that you can really say there's not two journeys alike. Mm-hmm. Every journey is different. You have different customers, different demographics, different carriers that have different constraints. You have different products. So this is very much an absolutely bespoke solution. You have a problem that's very unique. Mm-hmm. We do this essentially by having a platform underneath that makes all this data available for you. But not to get too nerdy about it, as I am the CTO, but there is a very thin outer layer around the whole solution, and I don't want to dramatize that, but it gives you infinite customizability. You have all these enterprise-grade solutions from SAP and Salesforce who require you to get 5 developers on staff just to maintain that, right? Yeah. Because it's so hyper customized, hyper individualized to your business. We don't want to run into that situation. So we give you a core that is very optimized for any kind of operational experience management, but then give you the tools and, quite frankly, also the training, guidance, and consultation to really make this your journey. I dare really anybody to see we have 2 customers operating under the same journey. They never do. You have one brand, even in different countries, operating really differently to accommodate for this specific market's requirements.
How much effort is involved in getting this stood up? Like, I mean, you come in and talk to a company. Like, what goes into getting it going? Let's
say you start and you want to have a quick time to value. Uh-huh. From my experience, this is the most crucial success factor. You want to be live with something quickly. So typically you would de-scope a little bit and pick the most important country, the most important carrier, the most important language, and get rolling with that. So you can be live in 2 weeks. That is really our goal. We want you to be live in 2 weeks because this is a project that kind of never stops.
Right.
Yeah. Customer expectations will continue to evolve. You will continue to have new offerings, new fulfillment options, new ways you want to interact with your customers. So you can never stop this quote unquote project of how do I create customer experience? This is something you lock in forever. And so, the first time to value is really quick. The final time to value, I want to say, is infinite. You'll constantly be working with us to make sure that this evolves with your business and your customers.
Yeah. Well, and I know one of the things that you talk about that, is sort of the benefit of what you guys are doing is that so many companies have so many disparate systems in their organization. They got these fulfillment systems and logistics systems, and then they've got the marketing department that has their customer database, and you've got your manufacturing systems and things like that. And you, so you have an ability to tie a lot of these systems together. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite example for that is a very simple one. In the TMS, which is the transport management system, which typically prints the label in your warehouse to be actually shipped to the customers, you have loads of information available. Interestingly, the only thing you know about your customer is the address. That's it. So you kind of pick the cheapest label, the cheapest possibility to fulfill this order. That's your optimization, right?
Right.
You don't really look at, oh, wait, actually, Chris is ordering from us every 2 weeks. Maybe we should just give him the most premium service for free. Yeah. Nobody's really looking at that, which is, for me, a perfect example on how these systems are separate. Yeah. But they really should be all tied in together. What you know about your customers in your CRM, in your marketing automation, is hugely valuable in communicating and fulfilling an order. The information you have in your order system is obviously super important. Who of you didn't get a dispatch confirmation where it just said we shipped your goods, but it actually doesn't list what exactly was shipped? So you have to pull up the order confirmation all the time. Why do you tell me what you shipped? Exactly, right? It's amazing. So there's an absolute need to integrate with these solutions. And while we appreciate every retailer working with us on that problem, quite frankly, this is a problem a lot of retailers have on their radar and tackling themselves already today. So I think they're very aware that this is not ideal yet. The problem, obviously, is fulfillment kind of is not what you as a retailer are necessarily very good at, right? You're good at creating a brand, creating products, marketing these products, and that you actually, to sell, also have to fulfill them at some point is more of a cost position. And that's why a lot of retailers struggle to do this end-to-end in-house and prefer working with external vendors instead, simply to get this done without dedicating too much time on that.
Yeah, no, I gotta imagine it's tricky to tie all those systems together. You also talk about that, by doing all this, there's a lot of data that you can collect, right? To really both enhance your operations and enhance the customer experience. Can you talk a little bit about, the kind of data that you're collecting?
There's multiple dimensions to it. Let's start with the most obvious dimension. You actually get a good understanding of where you are shipping and how these addresses impact customer experience. What do I mean by that? You might know that different regions have a higher tendency for fraud than others. That's a relevant information for you as a retailer. You might know that you have very good delivery services in one region compared to another. So maybe that's worth working with your carrier to see, can we improve that? Can we pull up our cutoff time for New York region 1 hour early so we have a better average delivery time to this core market, right? So everything that's really coming from the operational, from the logistics side of it. But then you have this second layer, which is your customer engagement. And the majority of retailers today don't know how much engagement does our order confirmation get, how much engagement does our dispatch confirmation get. They don't look at that. But I would bet a lot that this is their email with the highest engagement they have by far, right? Uncontested. And this information, how do I reach customers? What channel does work best for them? What kind of information are my customers interested in? Are they pulling up more information? At what point in the journey are they interested about return options? Is that already before they ordered something? Is that only after? How much after delivery is that? All these kind of information about how your customers engage with your brand during that phase is really another level on top, right?
Yeah, well, and I got to imagine, there's a great opportunity for things like, there's always stuff that gets missed in like complex orders too. It's like, I bought this, but I didn't buy the cables for it, or I bought this and I need, this tool to go with that. It seems like that point of engagement would be a great opportunity to just say, hey, you might have forgotten this. Do you want to order it, kind of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Product insight as well. I mean, ultimately, depending on what you're selling and to whom you're selling, there's a whole treasure trove of additional things you could be doing, right? And the key point is really, how do you set up your communication in a way that you harness this information about your customers to begin with, and then really make it actionable. I always have a bit of a hard time retailers looking top level into, okay, what's my lead time? How long does it take from go to X to Z? Well, what's your actual actionable impact you can have on that? What are you going to do about it, right? I mean, you're going to ship faster? Yeah, okay. How, right?
Right.
But when you look at, for example, what's the impact on failed attempt rate? How many times does the first delivery attempt already work? Broken down by metro regions. This might tell you, okay, so this carrier might be better suited for such a region, or for this metropolitan area. This is how I want to adapt my packaging. This I want to update my labeling, all these kind of information.
Yeah, and I got to imagine, like by getting some of that early customer feedback, you're going to get some information on, like if you do have multiple carriers to choose from, which one is giving the best customer experience, and not necessarily which one is delivering the fastest.
Exactly. The fast is just a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Right? If it's slightly broken every time you get it, if the delivery person is super rude, this already has negative impact on your brand. And this is information that is not available in the carrier's performance data. You have to have an additional channel to engage with your customers and try to get them to share more information with you, right? And that's simply a level that comes on top.
Yeah, I mean, I had a delivery recently that the driver just threw it on the front yard and left. we walked out and we're like, there's boxes on the front yard.
My favorite example for that is my food delivery box. I have a food delivery subscription, and I obviously won't be naming the carrier. But every second week, don't ask me why. Maybe they have different shifts or something. They leave it in the hall, right? Down in the building. I mean, yeah, that's cool. I can pick it up. If I knew I could pick it up, but it's fresh food. Please don't just let it lie around in the entrance hall of my building, right? It's fresh food. I want to eat that. And that's my favorite example for, all right, just a little bit more additional communication would go a long way. Just tell me you dropped it off. Make up a reason why you just dropped it off. Just say I wasn't home. Right? Yeah. I was home, but I am fine with you saying I wasn't home. Just tell me I can get it from downstairs. I
mentioned this, I think, before, but we bought some furniture recently, and it came on it was 500 pounds of furniture that showed up on a pallet with a truck driver with a lift gate, and they're like, "Here you go," and I'm like,
"Enjoy."
What? I mean, the boxes, the lightest box I think was 140 pounds. And so now I got to get it off this truck and into my house by myself. I mean, the truck driver helped a bit, but this is the first time I ever threw my back out, because it like tipped when I was going, and I tweaked my back, and it was like 2 weeks of like, God, that's terrible.
That's an excellent example. When you look at the communication IKEA does for their home deliveries, they're laser focused on making sure you understand how this delivery is going to work out. Yeah. So that when the delivery truck comes around, you are briefed and know, okay, you actually have to bring it inside, right? So you know that. And that what do I have to provide? They need some space to park their truck, obviously, for a couple of minutes. Yeah. So you need to do these kind of things simply to make sure that this is a very complex delivery. So they want to really make sure that you have at least all the information to make it a success. And that actually works, right? So people are engaged. They read what they're being told, and can act on it when you explain it in a good way. But I mean, this sounds like a less than ideal experience you had there, Chris.
Oh yeah. Well, and my wife was like, I mean, the furniture was great when it arrived and we set it up. But But she's like, I'll never order from that company again. She's like, what the hell were they thinking? You know? I mean, it's like we liked the product. You know, we liked our experience until the shipping piece. And
it's so easy to lose a customer, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to lose a customer. You spend all that money on ads and retargeting and good offers, and then you nurture them, and finally they buy, and then you're like, all right, here's your stuff, right? Carry it in yourself.
Yeah.
Or the same with returns, right? You want to return something, and that's also for a brand. And again, Amazon realized that early on as well. That's an opportunity for a brand to shine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't worry about it. We got your back. Everybody orders something wrong at the time. And as you might know, us Germans, we're the return champions of the world. Nobody returns as much as Germans do. Fashion has like 70% return rate.
Wow.
Yeah, we're crazy. I don't know what's going on with my fellow countrymen and women. I honestly don't get it, but we're really extreme. But this is a time for a retailer to shine as well. Say, all right, don't worry about it. We got your back. We'll make it really easy. And while we're at it, I mean, you didn't like this product. How about this product? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you got to do. Like, but we have a good alternative. And most people who didn't like this ended up liking this other product. And that's like an excellent opportunity to reach out to customers and turn something which is a really negative experience into something cool that ultimately even sometimes leads to customers telling their friends and family about this, right? So that was super easy. I mean, who doesn't remember the first time Amazon refunded when you just dropped it off, right? I mean, that was like, oh my God, what is happening, right?
Well, that's been Sandesh preaches that all the time. You know, like that. You know, I don't want to speak for you, Sandesh, but I know like when things go bad, that's a great opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Well, and I think these days everybody just wants what Amazon's doing. Honestly,
they are leading the pack. They are setting customer expectations.
But they've even fallen off lately. I mean, I'm finding that like, you know, sometimes stuff comes early, it's coming late. Yep. Sometimes it just disappears altogether. You know, and they do that, like your item shipped. What's the item? They do that all the time. Drives me nuts.
I know.
They need to fix that piece.
Yeah.
Or you get a box and you don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know what it is. Is it something for me or Priya or the kids? And you know, we have multiple boxes. But I think in general, a lot of the things you guys are just touching on, it's like you can have the best product in the world. You can have a great retail market, but if you can't deliver the experience the customers are looking for these days, you know, that's it. You know, and it's challenging everybody because simple is hard, and we're like, you have an appreciation for the problem because you're trying to solve it. I have it because I deal with it all the time. But it's a very complicated problem, and people are losing business. You know, I see it all the time. It just happened last week. A customer's like, you know what? This OEM couldn't get it for me when I needed it, and they were too late to even give us a date. These people had it. We bought it.
Yeah.
Done.
And next
you know
time, they're going to check with the other one first. Of course.
Exactly what he said. Exactly. And I don't blame them, right? And but I think that's happening a lot. So I think customers need to spend more time on customer loyalty. I mean, vendors need to spend more time on the customer loyalty piece.
Absolutely. It's too critical, and acquiring new customers long term becomes too expensive. It's usually an investment worthwhile to keep your customers.
We've been using this, you know, these metrics of like it's 10x the amount to get a new customer than it is to keep a current customer.
Yeah.
Even if it's 5x, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's still too much. You know, like it's, God, do I know that, right? You can do everything right, but then that one last thing, and it's shipping, and you lose the business because of shipping. You know, that's not why you should be losing business. You know?
Explain that to your CEO, right?
Right. Yeah, sorry. Customer loves the product. They think it's fantastic. They've been a customer for 15 years, but
you can't take the shipping.
Couldn't deliver.
We didn't know when we were going to ship it to them, and so I wonder how that meeting's going to go.
Well, fortunately, we've got ParcelLab out there trying to solve for this problem. So, you know, we appreciate your efforts there.
We're trying our best.
So tell me, what's next for you guys? What do you see as the next challenge on the horizon you're going to solve for?
That's my favorite question, Chris. And everybody at ParcelLab and most of our customers as well know I have a natural aversion against roadmaps. I'm the no roadmap guy. Since the 7 years we've been doing this now, we always valued co-creation, working directly with our customers above everything else. I try to stay away from roadmaps as much as possible. Our leading value is relentless focus on customer value. I truly believe that. I think this is absolutely important, especially in such a fast-paced, ever-changing environment. If I have made plans 2 years ago, what we would be building and working on today, I couldn't have been more off. I would have been completely blank. Having said that, while we don't have roadmaps, obviously we know about problems to tackle. And I touched on some of these problems a little bit earlier. So returns for us still is a huge opportunity. We have our returns experience live in 40 markets already, but we're looking to add more services to that, make it easier and more fun for customers to return items. That is an absolute driver for us. We're seeing a lot of opportunities in marketplaces. I mean, there's basically no retailer out there anymore who doesn't want to make use of infinite shelf and sell basically everything that can be sold, from Adidas to Nike to you name it. And that makes it even more complicated again, because now suddenly you're not even shipping the product, but you have this other third party who's shipping in your name. It's oh wait, so how is this going to work out, right? So that's another huge opportunity. And then we really try to focus around what is changing in customer behavior. So how do people want to receive their packages? What kind of services are they interested in? Are there any other third-party services we can integrate with? It makes it easier and more enjoyable for retailers to receive. I don't know if you guys know that, but in Northern Europe, it's very common that you pick up your packages at a supermarket. They have supermarkets who cooperate with PostNord, which is like the Nordic postal service, very obvious from the name. And they deliver to this one supermarket chain. So you can just pick it up when you get groceries. So that's a really interesting service. And I think that there's potential for these kind of setups in multiple markets as well. So we really always try to go where the puck is going, and really work closely with our customers to see what's next. But I can't count the number of times where I said, next year we're going to be building this, and then we didn't. We turned out to not be building this because everything changed again, and all my assumptions turned out to be incorrect. I'm learning something new every single day, and I think e-commerce in general has this effect on everybody.
Hey, listening to what the customer wants and building that's a strange business strategy. I don't know how that's going to be successful, right?
Yeah. Where's your 10-year roadmap?
Yeah, right. Well, I think this stuff sounds amazing. I just, as we've been talking about, this is desperately needed. And, hopefully we can get the word out about what you guys are doing, because I think I would like to have more of it in, for the products I'm shopping for. So thanks for doing great work. Thanks for being on. Really appreciate you coming on and telling us about what you guys are doing. And we'll keep an eye on you and see how it all goes. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you like what you saw, please give us a like and consider subscribing, because that helps the channel a ton. And I will see you in the next video.